The secret no one noticed. No one in the galaxy noticed when humanity began to disappear. At first, it was small things. A trade route closed. A human station stopped responding. A border colony went silent. To the great powers of the galaxy, this was nothing special. Species rose and fell all the time. Humans were young, fragile, and scattered across weak systems. Most believed they were finally collapsing under pressure. The Galactic Council marked human space as unstable and moved on. What they did not see was the pattern. Human worlds were not falling into chaos. They were being emptied. On the outer edge of known space, far beyond normal warp lanes, dark regions existed where scanners failed and stars burned low. Long ago, explorers marked those regions as useless. No planets, no resources, no life. That was where humanity went. Hidden inside those dead zones, enormous structures began to grow. Shipyards larger than moons. Power cores that bent gravity around them. Fleets assembled in perfect silence, wrapped in black holes that reflected no light. Humans did not broadcast. They did not trade. They did not ask for help. They remembered history. They remembered how other species treated them. How human ambassadors were ignored. How their warnings were laughed at. How their colonies were raided because humans were easy targets. So humanity made a choice. If the galaxy would not see them as equals, then the galaxy would not see them at all. On the surface of an abandoned mining world, Commander Elias Vorn stood inside a command chamber carved deep into the planet's crust. Screens floated around him, showing star maps filled with red lines and hidden routes. Thousands of human officers worked quietly, each knowing their role. No one spoke loudly. No one celebrated. This was not hope. This was preparation. Fleet relocation complete, an officer said calmly. Elias nodded. Any outside detection? None, another replied. Galactic sensors still show human population decline. A faint smile touched Elias's face, but it carried no joy. Only focus. Good, he said. Let them believe it. Far away, on a listening post owned by the Keltar Union, a lone alien analyst named Tesh felt something was wrong. Tesh had studied human behavior for years. Humans did not simply give up. They argued. They adapted. They fought. Yet the data showed humans vanishing quietly. That silence scared Tesh more than war ever had. One night cycle, as Tesh reviewed old sensor logs, an anomaly appeared. A brief signal spike. Too short to trace. Too clean to be random. It carried no image. No language. Only a pulse. Tesh ran the signal through every known database. Nothing matched. Then the screen flickered, and for less than a second, a human symbol appeared. Old. Military. Tesh's breathing slowed. That's impossible, Tesh whispered. The signal vanished as if it had never existed. Tesh reported it to superiors. The report was ignored. Probably leftover debris, they said. Humans are finished. Tesh was not convinced. Meanwhile, inside the hidden shipyards, humanity finished Phase 1. Millions of humans now lived underground or in deep space habitats invisible to normal scans. Their ships no longer used standard engines. Their weapons no longer followed known rules. They studied alien tactics. They learned alien weaknesses. They trained without rest. Every human child was taught history, not just Earth's wars, but galactic betrayals. Every human soldier knew one truth. No one was coming to save them. That belief shaped everything. On a distant border world, an alien pirate fleet attacked what they believed was a weak human supply convoy. The human ships did not flee. They did not call for help. They vanished. Minutes later, the pirate fleet was gone too. No wreckage. No survivors. The incident was written off as a navigation failure. Across the galaxy, small things kept happening. Scouts disappeared near former human space. Long-range probes failed when aimed at dark regions. Old human distress signals suddenly activated, then stopped. The galaxy noticed none of it. They were too busy fighting each other. Inside the deepest human command station, Elias stood before a massive window. Beyond it, thousands of ships floated in perfect formation, waiting. An officer approached him carefully. Sir, all conditions are met. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Humanity had hidden for decades, not because they were afraid, but because they were patient. Begin silent expansion, Elias said. Yes, sir. Across the stars, unseen human fleets moved into position, watching, measuring. The galaxy believed humanity was gone. That mistake would soon cost everything. And when the galaxy finally noticed humanity again, it would already be too late. The silence that terrified the stars. The galaxy was loud. Wars burned across star systems. Fleets clashed. Empires shouted threats through open channels. Every species wanted to be heard. Only one species was silent. Human space became a dead zone. No signals, no traders, no refugees. Even old human music stations stopped broadcasting. To most of the galaxy, this confirmed one thing. Humanity was finished. The Galactic Council updated the record. Status: human civilization functionally extinct. That single line sealed their fate. Because extinction meant opportunity. Salvage fleets moved into former human systems, hoping to claim abandoned tech. Pirate clans followed, expecting easy loot. Small empires sent scouts, planning future expansion. None of them came back. At first, it was one ship, then 3. Then entire fleets vanished without a single distress call. No explosions were detected. No debris fields formed. Space itself looked untouched, as if nothing had ever been there. Fear spread slowly. The galaxy did not panic yet. It denied. These are navigation errors, the Council claimed. Human systems are unstable. But experienced captains knew better. Space did not erase fleets without reason. On a heavily fortified listening station near the Orion Drift, Commander Rel of the Veruan Collective stared at his tactical screen. His scanner showed something impossible. Empty space moving. Run the scan again, Rel ordered. The technician swallowed. We already did. 5 times. A massive shadow passed through the sensor range, bending light around it. No engine flare. No heat. No sound. Then it was gone. Rel felt a chill crawl through his scaled skin. Mark that vector, he said quietly. Do not report this to the Council yet. He wanted answers before panic. Elsewhere, in the hidden human command network, the movement was intentional. Phase 2 had begun. Human fleets slipped into key positions across the galaxy. They did not attack. They did not announce themselves. They watched trade lanes, military routes, and communication hubs. They learned who would strike first. On one human warship, Captain Mara Chun observed alien fleets from behind cloak screens. Her ship floated close enough to hear their internal chatter. They still think we're dead, an officer said. Mara nodded. Good. Dead things don't scare you until they move. Orders came in through tight beam transmission. Observe only. Engage if threatened. Leave no trace. Humanity was not ready to be seen. Yet. Then came the mistake. A powerful empire, known as the Karth Dominion, launched a cleansing operation into former human space. They announced it publicly, claiming they were removing dangerous ruins. In truth, they wanted to make an example. A Karth battle fleet entered the system of Helios 9, once a major human colony. They found no cities, no stations, just an empty world. The Karth commander laughed. Humans fled like vermin, he said. That was when space folded. Human ships appeared without warning, sliding out of nothingness. Their weapons did not glow. They did not roar. They cut. The Karth fleet lost power in seconds. Hulls opened like paper. Command ships went dark before orders could be given. The entire battle lasted less than 3 minutes. One Karth ship was spared. Its engines reactivated on their own. A single message played across its bridge, calm and clear. You entered protected space. This was a warning. Then the ship was pushed back across the system border at impossible speed. When the Karth Dominion received the report, they panicked. They sent the data to the Galactic Council. The Council froze. Humanity was alive. Not weak, not broken, but watching. Emergency sessions were called. Fleets were mobilized. Old human treaties were suddenly reconsidered. Too late. In the human command chamber, Elias Vorn studied the rising panic across galactic channels. "They're afraid now," an officer said. Elias nodded slowly. "Fear is good," he replied, "but it's not enough." He looked at the next phase marker glowing on the map. The galaxy had noticed humanity again, and soon it would understand why it should never have looked away. The lie that started the war. The galaxy could not accept the truth. Humanity was alive. Humanity was strong. And worst of all, humanity had been watching. The Galactic Council did not announce this discovery to the public. Panic would spread too fast. Instead, they chose something easier. They chose a lie. Official broadcasts claimed the Helios 9 incident was a fabrication, a car system failure, human ghosts created by damaged sensors. Human civilization remains extinct, the council declared. Behind closed doors, they prepared for war. Emergency fleets were recalled. Ancient weapons were unlocked. Species that once hated each other were suddenly called allies, not because they trusted one another, but because they all feared the same thing. Humans. On a distant council world, High Strategist Velker studied a single frozen frame from the Helios 9 battle. It showed a human ship cutting through space like a blade. "No engines," Velker muttered. "No energy bloom. This is not an upgrade. This is evolution." Velker understood something the others refused to say aloud. Humans did not rush into war. They waited for it. Meanwhile, inside humanity's hidden command network, the mood was calm but tense. Officers watched galactic channels flood with propaganda and false reports. "They're calling us myths again," an analyst said. Elias Vorn folded his hands. "Good. Lies rot from the inside." Then the galaxy made its second mistake. A council-aligned force attacked a human listening probe near neutral space. The attack was quick, clean, and meant to leave no evidence. But the probe transmitted everything. The attack reached human command within seconds. Silence filled the chamber. Captain Mara Chun spoke first. "That wasn't fear. That was testing." Elias nodded. "And tests require answers." Orders were issued. Not retaliation. A demonstration. Humanity selected a target. An unmanned council relay hub that controlled communications across 12 systems. No civilians. No fleets nearby. The perfect message. At exactly one standard cycle later, the relay hub vanished. No explosion. No radiation spike. It simply ceased to exist. Across 12 systems, every screen went dark at once. For the first time in galactic history, the Council lost control of information. When communications returned, one message played on every channel, every frequency, every language. "We are not extinct. We are not aggressive. But we will not be hunted." The message ended. Fear became panic. Worlds began mobilizing without orders. Fleets moved on instinct. Some species fled toward deep space. Others demanded immediate extermination of humanity. The lie collapsed. The Council had no choice left. They declared humanity a Class 1 existential threat. And then they declared war. The announcement echoed across the galaxy. All Allied forces are authorized to engage and destroy human assets on sight. The vote passed unanimously, except one seat. The Keltar Union abstained. Their representative remembered the silence before Helios 9 and the calm in the human message. But one voice could not stop a galaxy. Inside human command, the declaration appeared on every screen. No cheering, no shouting, only quiet understanding. "This is it," an officer said softly. Elias stood. "They chose fear over truth," he said. "And fear always attacks first." He turned to the fleet command display. Human ships activated across the map, not rushing forward, but locking into defensive webs. "Phase 3, Elias ordered. "No first strikes. No mercy for invaders." Captain Mara exhaled slowly. "They're coming with everything." "Yes," Elias replied. "And they will learn something today." "What's that?" she asked. Elias's eyes hardened. "That humans do not rise fast. They rise prepared." As alien war fleets surged toward human-controlled regions, ancient weapons glowing and banners raised, the galaxy believed it was stopping a threat. They did not realize they had just united humanity like never before. And united humans do not retreat. They endure. They adapt. They win. When the galaxy struck first, the galaxy attacked at once. There was no warning, no final message, no chance for talks. War fleets from dozens of species poured toward human-controlled space. Ancient alliances broke their own rules. Civilian zones were ignored. The order was simple: erase humanity before it grows stronger. From the Council's view, this was a clean solution. Humans were still few in number. Their territory was small. Their strength was unknown. Unknown things are easiest to fear. The first wave hit the outer human defense line, a region the galaxy believed was lightly guarded. Scanners showed only a handful of human ships waiting there. Alien commanders smiled. Then space changed. Human ships did not charge. They did not scatter. They simply held position. As the alien fleets moved closer, their weapons began to fail. Target locks flickered. Missiles lost guidance. Energy beams bent away from human hulls, as if space itself refused to cooperate. Electronic warfare, an alien commander shouted. No, his officer replied in fear. This is environmental. Then the human counterattack began. Invisible weapons tore through alien formations. Entire squadrons vanished as if cut from reality. Ships collided when their navigation systems betrayed them. Command vessels lost control of their own fleets. Human ships still did not advance. They let the enemy destroy itself. Within minutes, the first wave was broken. Survivors fled, sending panicked reports back to the Council. This is not a battle line, one message said. It's a trap built into space. The Council ordered a second wave. Bigger, heavier, cruel. This time they aimed deeper. They targeted human population worlds. On the human colony of Haven 3, alarms rang for the first time in decades. Families moved underground with calm speed. Children followed practice drills. There was no screaming. Humans had expected this. As alien bombardment began, planetary shields activated, stronger than anything the galaxy had measured. Entire fleets fired together. The shield did not fall. Instead, the energy was absorbed, then returned. A focused blast surged outward, disabling every ship in orbit without destroying them. Human ground forces waited, but no landing came. The galaxy's armies were learning a terrible lesson. Humanity had not prepared to attack. They had prepared to endure. Inside human high command, Elias Vorn watched the battle unfold in silence. Lost reports scrolled past. Minimal. Too minimal. Captain Marachin frowned. They're holding back, she said. Yes, Elias replied. They want us to feel safe. As if on cue, new alerts flashed across the map. Council forces bypassed defended systems and struck human logistics hubs, fuel depots, shipyards, supply routes. Clever. The galaxy was adapting. Several human facilities went dark. For the first time, blood was spilled. Human crews died at their stations, buying time for evacuations. Ships self-destructed to deny capture. Names were recorded. Faces remembered. The room felt heavier. Permission to retaliate fully, an admiral requested. Elias did not answer right away. He looked at the casualty list. Then he spoke. Authorized limited counteroffensive. A single human battle group broke formation and jumped into enemy territory. They did not attack fleets. They attacked confidence. Council command nodes vanished. Military leaders were captured alive. Secret weapon vaults were exposed and disabled. Human ships left symbols behind. Marks that said, "We were here. We could have done worse." Fear spread faster than any virus. Council worlds erupted in protests. Citizens demanded answers. Some species tried to withdraw from the war. The Council refused. Total victory or extinction, they declared. That choice sealed their fate. Elias turned back to the map. Humanity still had not used its true strength. Begin Phase 4 preparations, he said quietly. Capimara looked up. That will change everything. Elias nodded. They wanted a war, he said. Now we will teach them what one really costs. Far across the stars, human fleets shifted position. The galaxy had struck first. Now it would learn what it meant to strike last. the weapon that was meant to end humanity. The galaxy lost its patience. The first attacks had failed. The second had bled them. The third had broken their confidence. Human defenses were too strong. Human tactics were too precise. So the Galactic Council chose fear over reason. They unlocked a weapon no one had used in centuries. It was called the Starbreaker. The weapon was simple in idea and terrible in effect. It collapsed a star's core, turning it unstable. Any system hit by it would burn itself to death. Planets, fleets, everything. The Council selected a target. A human system with colonies. Shipyards. Millions of lives. They wanted an example. When the Starbreaker was activated, even Council members looked away from their screens. This weapon had ended wars before. Nothing was supposed to survive it. Inside Human Command, alarm screamed for the first time. Energy spike detected. An analyst shouted. Stellar-level weapon. Captain Mara Chun felt her chest tighten. They're killing a star. Elias Vorn stared at the data. They crossed the line, someone whispered. The human fleet near the system did not retreat. Instead, they moved closer to the dying star. Alien commanders laughed when they saw it. They're desperate, one said. They don't understand. They were wrong. Human engineers had studied stars for generations. They had watched supernovas. They had learned how stars lived and how they died, and how to interfere. As the Starbreaker pushed the star toward collapse, human ships formed a massive pattern around it. Deep space structures unfolded from their hulls, machines never used before. Gravity bent. Time stretched. The star slowed. Impossible readings flooded alien sensors. What is happening? A council scientist screamed. The star did not explode. It stabilized. Humanity had stopped a weapon meant to kill gods. Then the humans did something worse. They reversed the flow. The energy meant to destroy the system was redirected, focused, and released, not a planet, but at the Starbreaker platform itself. The superweapon vanished in a silent flash. Across the galaxy, every species watching understood one thing at the same time. Humanity could now undo extinction. Panic exploded. Council worlds erupted into chaos. Some species demanded peace. Others demanded total annihilation before humans became unstoppable. The Council chose pride. They ordered all remaining fleets forward. Inside Human Command, the room was quiet. The cost was no longer theoretical. They tried to erase us, Mara said softly. Elias nodded. And now everyone knows. He looked at the casualty list from the targeted system. Humans had still died. Not millions, but enough. Enough to change things. Activate the reserve fleets, Elias ordered. Officers froze. Those fleets were legends. Rumors. Even some humans believed they were myths. Sir, an admiral said carefully, once they see this, there's no hiding anymore. Elias's voice was calm. We didn't hide to survive, he said. We hid to prepare. Deep in regions the galaxy believed empty, space opened. Human supercarriers emerged, larger than alien capitals, armed with technology no one understood. Entire fleets followed, moving with perfect discipline. For the first time, humanity did not defend. They advanced. Alien commanders watched their screens in horror as battle predictions collapsed into nonsense. Nothing behaved as expected. Human ships fought as if they already knew every move. Because they did. Humans had studied this war before it began. As the first human strike groups crossed into council space, a message broadcast across all channels. This war can still end. Withdraw your fleets, or face what we built while you ignored us. The council refused to respond. Elias turned away from the screen. They've made their choice, he said. The galaxy was about to learn the final truth. Humanity did not rise in secret to conquer. They rose so that no one could ever threaten their existence again. And now, the galaxy would pay the price of teaching humans why they must never lose. Why humanity never surrendered. The galaxy was breaking. Not just fleets, not just planets, but belief. Alien soldiers began refusing orders. Commanders delayed attacks. Entire fleets hesitated when human ships appeared on their screens. Not because they were defeated, but because they finally understood something was wrong. Humans were not fighting like conquerors. They were fighting like survivors. Captured alien officers were brought into human detention zones. They expected torture, interrogation, revenge. Instead, they were shown records. Human history. Wars on Earth. Cities burned. Families lost. Humanity fighting itself again and again, yet always rebuilding. Always standing back up. Then the records moved forward. Human colonies destroyed by pirates. Trade partners abandoning them. Council members voting against human protection laws. Entire worlds lost while the galaxy watched in silence. One alien commander stared at the screen in disbelief. "You kept asking for help," he said quietly. A human officer nodded. And the galaxy kept saying no. That truth spread, not through broadcasts, but through whispers, through prisoners released, through soldiers who had seen human restraint firsthand. Human fleets could destroy planets. They didn't. Human weapons could erase species. They refused. This was not mercy born from weakness. It was control born from pain. On the front lines, Captain Mara Chun stood on the bridge of her ship as an alien fleet retreated without firing a shot. "They're running," an officer said. Mara shook her head. "No, they're waking up." But the council would not wake up. Cornered and desperate, they launched their final plan. A coordinated strike on Earth. The birthplace. The symbol. If humanity's heart was destroyed, the body would fall. Massive council fleets bypassed battle zones and jumped straight toward Seoul. The moment the alert reached human command, the room went silent. This was the fear they had prepared for. Elias Vorn stared at the projection of Earth, blue, fragile, alive. "All fleets," he said slowly, "fall back to Seoul." Admirals turned in shock. "That will expose our gains," one said. "Yes," Elias replied, "but some things are not negotiable." Human ships abandoned forward positions and raced home. Alien commanders laughed, believing they had forced humanity into panic. They were wrong again. Around Earth, space transformed. Hidden platforms activated. Ancient human defense systems awakened. Machines built not for war but for last stands. The Council fleet arrived in force. They found Earth waiting, not undefended, protected by everything humanity had. The battle that followed shook reality. Alien weapons slammed into layered human shields. Human counterfire disabled ships without destroying them, forcing crews to surrender or flee. At the center of it all, Earth remained untouched. Broadcasts began leaking from human command. Not threats, not propaganda. Messages from human civilians. "Children, elders, we just want to live. We don't want your worlds. Please stop." Some alien crews shut down their weapons mid-battle. Others kept firing. Those ships did not survive. Elias watched the battle unfold, jaw tight. "This ends now," he said. He authorized a single action. Human fleets locked on a council command worlds, not to destroy them, but to expose them. Every lie, every hidden vote, every ignored warning broadcast across the galaxy. The council's image collapsed overnight. Riots erupted. Member species withdrew support. Fleets turned back. The war did not end with an explosion. It ended with understanding. As the last hostile fleet retreated from Seoul, Elias exhaled for the first time in years. Humanity had not won by fear. They had won by refusing to become what the galaxy expected. But the cost was heavy. Too many names. Too many graves. Mara stood beside Elias, looking at Earth. "They'll never forget us now," she said. Elias nodded. "That was never the goal," he replied. "But it's the price of survival." The galaxy would never see humanity as weak again, but it would always remember why humans fought so hard to protect one small blue world. Because humanity did not rise in secret to rule the stars. They rose so that no one would ever decide their fate again. The day the galaxy finally understood humanity. The war did not end with cheering. It ended with silence. Across the galaxy, battlefields went dark. Weapons powered down. Fleets drifted without orders. Entire civilizations sat in shock, trying to understand how everything had changed so fast. Human ships did not chase the retreating enemies. They let them go. That choice confused everyone. On council worlds, leaders were removed, arrested, or fled into hiding. Old flags were burned. Old lies collapsed under the weight of exposed truth. A new emergency session of the Galactic Council was called. This time, humanity was invited. For the first time in galactic history, a human delegation entered the council chamber not as petitioners, but as equals. Elias Vorn stood alone at the center of the vast chamber. No weapons, no armor, just a simple uniform. Around him sat species that once voted to erase humanity. None of them met his eyes. The chamber waited for threats. They received honesty. "We did not hide because we were afraid," Elias said calmly. "We hid because history taught us what happens to the unprepared." Screens activated around the chamber. Images of destroyed human colonies. Abandoned distress calls. Council votes denying aid. Every moment the galaxy had chosen convenience over justice. No one spoke. Elias continued. "When you declared us extinct, you freed us from your rules. When you declared war, you proved why we needed to rise." A council elder finally spoke. "Why didn't you destroy us when you could?" Elias looked at them. "Because we remember being alone," he said, "and we would not become the monsters we feared." The silence that followed was heavy. Then something unexpected happened. One by one, species stood. Apologies were spoken, not for politics, but for lives. The galaxy did not bow to humanity. It learned from them. A new order was formed. No species could declare another extinct. No council vote could ignore civilian suffering. Human observers were placed in every major decision chamber, not to rule, but to remind. Human fleets slowly withdrew from contested systems. They returned home. Earth did not become a throne world. It became a symbol. Years later, children across the galaxy learned a new lesson in their history archives. That humanity was not the strongest species, not the largest, not the oldest, but they were the ones who endured when no one watched. On a quiet hill overlooking Earth, Elias stood with Captain Mara Chun, watching ships depart for peaceful missions. "Do you think they'll remember?" Mara asked. Elias smiled faintly. "They don't have to remember us," he said. "They just have to remember the cost of ignoring others." Above them, the stars shone calmly. No war fleets, no alarms, just endless space. Humanity had risen in secret, not to conquer the galaxy, not to rule it, but to make sure no voice would ever be erased again. And from that day forward, whenever the galaxy debated power, survival, or justice, there was always one truth no one argued anymore. Never underestimate a species that learned to survive alone, especially humans.